all right? A natural draft means that if you're useful, they'll keep you alive. If you're not useful, they'll send you to Iran where you'll die, okay? That's what it means. So make yourself useful. Read books, learn skills, work hard. Okay, that's my advice. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but that's the world we live in, okay? All right. John Zach says thank you. Well, thank you, John Zach. All right. Can you read McWell, Alan?
Professor, what is your take on a Katten AI designed to bypass the false optimization minimum of human extinction? Instead of forcing a stereo piece, it would optimize for minimum conflict energy and maximize creative collaboration. By structurally limiting the harm capacity of non-empathetic actors, could such a framework successfully steer humanity's historical trajectory toward healthy, constructive competition without violating our autonomy?
Yeah, this is a great point. It is possible for AI to do this. The question is, who's going to pay for this, right? If you're a billionaire, the reason why you invest in AI is to have more money, to extend your power and your wealth. And that means to control people better, right? So they're not going to create an AI system that means you don't need government anymore. Government's going to invest in this in order to have more control over people. Okay, so that's the issue that we face. And the reality is that AI is very expensive. You need trillion-dollar data centers in order to run AI effectively. Okay? All right, can you read, Alan?
Thank you for your work, Professor. In the upcoming multipolar world order, do you think the general populace, especially American, is prepared or even capable of making the mental shift and understanding just how much the world is shifting? Or is this something the next generation will only understand?
Yeah, this is a great question. And unfortunately, the reality is that most people will not be able to make this mental shift, especially older people. That's why most people are going to die. If you're not able to make the shift, you're going to die. Okay? Because you'd rather die than accept a new reality. And it's unfortunate. But a lot of the conflict is going to come from the fact that the world is changing. People in society need to make changes to adapt to this new world. For example, if there's energy shortages, that means we need to share more. There's enough energy to go around, guys, but it means you need to share more. It means you have to make personal sacrifices to make sure that your neighbor has enough to eat. And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of people, especially baby boomers, who are millionaires. Now, I'm not saying that all baby boomers are millionaires, but I'm saying that baby boomers who are millionaires, they're extremely selfish. They're not going to want to make these changes. They're not going to want to pay more taxes or give up their $1 million mansions so that the world can be better. Okay? And we know this because if they were willing to do this, we wouldn't be in this mess in the first place. So a lot of the conflict is going to come from the fact that you have people in power who will be stubborn, who will be too old to change, and who will be violent in resisting change. Okay? All right. Keep on going.
Hi, Professor. Can you tell a story about one of the times you felt really connected to the monarch and what insight did it give you? Love the lessons. A big hug to you and your family. Take care.
Okay. So there are many, many instances when I felt connected to the monad. But when I teach, I feel connected to the monad. It's a very strange experience. But, you know, the first time I started teaching was like when I was like 20 years old. I was in China. I was not a very good teacher. But when I'm teaching and the students are learning, I can feel them learning, I feel as though we connect back to the monad, okay? So the most gratifying experience I have is when I teach and I see students edified by the teaching, when I see students learning, okay? That is direct connection to the monad. When you love someone, like I love my wife, I feel connected to the monad. When I hug my child, when I have a newborn, I hug my newborn for the first time, that's connection to the monad. So the monad is with us all the time. It's just, do we choose to connect with it or not? Okay? And if you just listen to your heart, then you can easily connect to the monad. Connection to the monad is the greatest happiness in the world. So moments of greatest happiness in our world are when when we hug someone we love, okay? When we care for a friend, your friend is sick and in the hospital, but you spend 2 weeks just by the bedside of your friend. Is that a feeling of pain or pleasure? I think for most people, it's a feeling of deep pleasure that you're helping someone, that you're contributing to the world positively. Okay? All right. Keep on going.
Yeah, okay. Professor Jiang, many discussions around AI focus on surveillance, government control, censorship, and manipulation. But what if that is only the surface layer? As AI, social media, algorithms, governments, collective emotions, and human consciousness began recursively interacting with one another, it feels like we are entering an era where reality itself becomes fragmented and amplified simultaneously. Not just fake news, but entire emotion and psychological ecosystem shaking how different groups perceive truth, identity, memory, and meaning. In the future, do you think humanity risks losing a shared consensus reality altogether? And if so, what anchors human consciousness when billions of people are each interacting with different AI mirrors trained on different values, narratives, and emotions feedback loops? At that point, is AI merely a tool of civilization, or does it become part of civilization's evolving consciousness itself?
Okay, so there's a very famous Canadian media theorist named Marshall McLuhan, and his famous saying is, the medium is the message. And the idea here is that the medium itself, whether it's radio or television or the internet, it shapes the way you perceive yourself and the world. So look at ChatGPT. In theory, ChatGPT is supposed to enhance your imagination because ChatGPT is able to reduce the grunt work, right? It's able to provide you a lot of information and then you're able to build on top of this information. But in reality, what happens is that people become reliant on ChatGPT and you lose your imagination, okay? ChatGPT is not going to make you smarter, it makes you dumber. So why is that? And the answer is the monad. What makes you smart, what gives you your creativity, is your constant connection to the monad. So if you shift your focus from technology and away from your intuition, then you're going to lose. Okay? But why we have ChatGPT, why we have AI is it's a way to structure your thinking in a way that allows the powers that be to control you better. All right? Okay, so remember this idea that all technology in a way reduces your connection to the monad. And therefore all technology is bad in a certain way. Doesn't mean it's useless, but it means it's going to dampen your connection to the monad. What strengthens your connection to the monad is other people. All right, okay? And yourself. So if you really want to be creative, you really want to explore and understand humanity, take long walks in the park. Talk to strangers. Read a lot of books. Okay? All right, let's keep on going.
Question: how do you define beauty, and how should general public members pursue beauty in the current world?
Beauty is the divine. Okay? Beauty is connection to the divine. Beauty is a glimpse into the divine. Beauty are these sparks that are permanent throughout the world. Okay? And so beauty are experiences that change you for the better because they shock you into a new reality. And so beauty would include the great books, Homer, Dante. It could include an experience that you have that forever changes you. Okay? That's how I would define beauty. All right, keep on going.
Great to be part of this. I have several questions. Please pick whatever you like.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Let me just pick one random, okay? What happens if Saudi Arabia says I'm building its new pipeline? No, well, then Iran would just blow it up, okay, guys? It's a desert. Okay, you have to build things in the desert. It's pretty easy to blow things up in a desert. There's no place to hide. Pipelines are very easy to blow up because there's a lot of energy inside, right? Just a ballistic missile, boom, the thing is blown up. All right? Okay. All right. Let's go to Shelly.
You have discussed Pax Judaica many times, the idea of Israel as the center hub of a new regional order. But Pax Silica reframes Israel as merely a node in the broader US-led technology and supply chain architectures, not the dominant power. What is your take on Pax Silica?
Okay, all right. So Pax Judaica is Israel is at the center of the Middle East, okay? Pax Silica, the idea is that artificial intelligence, backed by silicon, is the new world power. The problem with Pax Silica is that it's really a trade network. Now, trade networks are often very, very fragile. Trade networks requires the cooperation of different nation states to maintain its coherence. And what we know from history is that power comes from the nation state. Okay? So unless you have a nation state backing Pax Silica, it's not going to work. So you can say that behind Pax Silica will be Pax Judaica. That's a possibility. But then Pax Judaica is in charge, okay? Not Pax Silica. All right? So the idea